You can dance if you want to. You leave your friends alone. 'Cause if they don't dance and if they don't dance, and they're no friends of mine.
You can dance.
You can dance. It's safe to dance. It's safe to dance.
Alright. We'll let people get in the stream here, so this is more entertaining today. Waiting for peoples. There we go. Don't bust it. Oh, I can't bust it. What's up, D&M? Up from Ashes. What's going on? Greg, Trinity, Wayne. Alright, so today we're going to conclude the... What's up, Freddie? Conclude the teardown of hot air stations. Jessa and Lewis have both done a teardown. Tim has done a review. I don't know if you did a teardown or not. But this is my... I've already taken it apart just to save some time. What's up, everybody? Louise, Christopher, how we doing? This is the AU 852A++. I guess if you add more pluses, it makes it better. At least that's what it seems in the Chinese market. That's what you do. You just add pluses to things, and it means the quality is better. But I went ahead and tore this unit down so we can kind of look at it. Compare the caps and the internals to what Lewis had torn down on the quick station and Jessa had torn down on the quick station. These units are slightly different on the inside. They use a pump style unit versus a blower style unit. So yeah, it's got a small transformer. Honestly, I don't know why the transformer in the other one's so big, but anyway, it might be for the fan because the fan uses so much more fucking power or something. But anyway, so this uses a pump style, which is right here. The pump style is different than the fan because instead of just having a fan that's blowing air down a tube, it actually has a pump that pumps air out at a pressure into the unit. So I've actually removed the suction piece on mine completely because I didn't need it, and I just left it open. It's usually right here, and it runs down to the front right here. I left it open, because it sucks air through here, and you don't want to hit anything on that and block it. Secondly, with it inside, it actually makes it quieter. These units are, I think, a little louder than the fan units because of the pump, but I don't know if there's a trade-off between the pump or the fan. Some people say you need a lot of pressure behind the air to make sure that you have a good consistent flow. I don't know. I mean, this unit works for me, but we're gonna go through it and look at it. I've taken this apart before just to look inside. It does use a very small transformer, which is right here. That transformer goes directly from the mains input right here off this switch and goes to the main power control board, which is back here. Like the quick station and the Hako stations, the transistors that they have in here, the MOSFETs, have heat sinks, aluminum heat sinks. There's 3 of them on this board. It also has an input here for the actual wand, I believe. Yeah, it has the wand and the temperature sensor wires coming back into this board here. So the 2 red wires are the heating element feeds, and the black and the white wire are actually the K-type temperature probe sensor that sits in the actual head here. Then from there, it's got this control cable that runs up the side here, goes to the front panel. The front panel has all analog buttons. Everything is analog. It's got a digital readout, and you've got an on-off switch. This puts the unit in a standby. It's not really an actual off or on. The off and on is on the back. It's got a large on-off switch in the back. So it's junk? No, it's not junk. So first we'll go over the pump here. The pump can be loud, but they do put them on isolators here. I know it'd probably be hard to see. You can see it's got rubber feet isolators that keep the pump separate from the body, so that any vibration from this pump is not transferred into the body itself. If you look at the pump, it's the majority of the inside here is the pump assembly. There's plenty of room in here. Honestly, if you're hell bent on making a Frankenstein setup, you could put a fan in here, I guess, if you really wanted.
Because I tried your
The routing here comes out of the pump down here at the bottom. It runs across to this side here in the bottom here. The air flows through this tube here that kind of gives you a readout on your airspeed, comes back out at the top, and then goes back down into the actual piece that goes up to the handle. As far as the control unit, no problems out of them. I've been using this one for 2 years with no problems. The heating element here, this is the original one that came in it. I've not replaced it. It's 2 years old. This is a ceramic core, which has, you can see here,
that's exactly what
these two heavy wires here coming up, the red and the white wire, are the temperature probe leads. And then on the other side, we have a black and a red wire that plug in through this plug. They go to the actual coil piece that's your heating element.
Okay, alright. Thank you.
Underneath here, it's not soldered, it's actually these press-in pin connectors. This is actually a ground for the sleeve. It goes around the heating element. It slides down over it and actually connects to that ground lead. It keeps you from shorting anything out, and that ground lead runs all the way back to the chassis and grounds there, and it grounds through the cord out from the chassis. The sleeves here, the only thing that I can say is kind of janky on these. They have like a Pyrex glass sleeve inside of them. You can see it there. That sleeve, if you drop the wand, can break. You can buy those. When is the smashing it up going to start? We're not going to smash this one. I use this one daily. As you can see by the end of it, that is nice and blackened. That's the only thing that I don't like about these. The sleeve in here being that Pyrex glass, if you drop these hard enough, it does break them. You can buy the sleeves. They sell them. They're not very expensive, but that's the only thing that I don't like about them, because my old unit, I did drop that and break it and bought a replacement sleeve. So you slide it back down over the element. It's got the ground here to isolate. You push that in. It's now connected. And then to put this back together, you just slide the sleeve back up over it, and then align your screw holes. Make sure I'm lined up here. But we're going to put this back together, and I'm actually going to run it through. We're going to remove some chips, and we're also going to use a K-type probe that I've got on my temperature sensor, and we're going to see if the output matches what the actual unit is doing. So what it says on screen actually matches the heat coming out of the wand. And these do, you can calibrate these. They have calibration steps when you buy them. But I've never really had to mess with mine much. It wasn't off by much at all when I first got it. There's a little potentiometer on the board that you can move to adjust the temperature to make sure it matches. Try a RAM chip on a MacBook Air board. Okay. What temperatures do you use? That way I can match up what you all use. I'm also going to do Jessa's shield removal. Jessa, what temperature was that at 450? Because I want to make sure everything's like level playing field here. Because I don't, like on iPhones, I never go over 350. Most of the stuff I work on iPhones, that's the max. Now on Macs, I use 400. 400's the sweet spot. Also on this unit, this is one thing that I do not like. This is the automatic shutoff, which is built into the casing itself. Let's see if I can get a better view of it. It's built into the casing itself and goes into the unit here. I wish, and I'm going to modify my own. This has a trigger system in it, and the trigger breaks off because it's not very strong. I'm going to actually, this is just a 2-wire. I'm probably going to go ahead and hook this up to a Hall effect sensor here and put it inside the handle. And then in here, I'm just going to stick a magnet inside the wand. That way it'll pick it up when I seat it. I don't use the auto shut off because honestly, I've never had a problem with it just running, but it is more, when I first got it, I did use the auto shut off just to cut down on noise in the shop. You learn real quick not to burn yourself on it. The highest it'll go with no nozzle. Okay. I mean, it'll take a RAM chip off at 400, but I'll do that. $5 minutes to melt the backlight driver. I mean, I literally, this is the unit I use every day. I've been using it the last 2 years. I run a lot lower temperatures, it seems like, than most people do, though, on iPhone stuff, at least. This thing's got 10 million screws holding it together, by the way, too. I guess they were afraid they wouldn't have enough screws in it. So 500 degrees C, highest airspeed, and then 450 according to the JBC. So 450 max airspeed on the shield removal. I will say I don't know that these units are quieter. They may be louder than some of the other ones. That could be one of the drawbacks to it. The pump is different than a fan. 9,000 screws? Yes, 9,000 screws. This thing has a lot of them.
9 million.
Yeah, I figure I can pick up a cheap Hall effect sensor, just a 2-wire Hall effect, and just pop it in there. And then it'll take the place of that switch. That switch just doesn't hold up very long. I should have taken Micah's apart. His is still in one piece. Actually, I don't even need the 2 screws up here at the top. They go for the suction hose that nobody ever uses.
And it's gonna suck your
I don't even know what I'm supposed to say to that. Need to loosen these 2 to get the 2 bottom ones in. So we get to leave some screws out that are not needed. Alright, so these are the last ones. Tighten this down. We'll plug it back in. I don't need these evidently because they go for the little handle holder here. Which I never use. I don't know if anybody honestly uses the suction piece other than, like, you use the suction piece on other stuff. Is it on?
Yeah, I put it into a different charger.
Is that with the old screen or new screen?
Old screen. Let me try it.
Okay. So, Micah, can you hand me iPhone 6 board with the shield still on it? Or just hand me the bag.
What do you need?
iPhone 6 bag, the parts bag. This thing needs a new battery. I'm messing with it. Alright, let's see. So this was the base fan shield, yeah? This one ever been removed? No, this one's never been removed. Let me get a couple of them just to make sure. There's another one. There's another one. Alright, so we'll do one that hasn't been touched at all. So go ahead and turn the unit on. If you've never seen what it looks like while it's on, we've got temperature readout here, airspeed here. We also have this analog floating ball thing, which honestly I could probably bypass it. It's not really needed since it has a readout of what my pressure is. So we'll go ahead and turn it up to where it should be. So we're going to go 450 on the first one. Okay. We'll let that warm up. It does not warm up as fast as the other units, I will say that. I mean, honestly, I mean, it's nice and all, especially for ones that auto cool down. It's great because you don't have to wait as long. But for me personally, I leave my unit on all day, so it's not a big deal for me to have it heat up slower. But I did pay $80 for this unit new, so can you complain? $80 versus $500. All right, so we're at 450. We're gonna go ahead and increase our airspeed. I don't know what airspeed Jesse uses. I mean, I can put it at max. So max airspeed. And then I'm going to do the stopwatch stuff. It's putting out that heat. Alright, so clock, stopwatch, and go. If I can pick it up here. And it's off. So that was 24 seconds. We'll try another one. We'll also look at the connector under the heat, or under the microscope, so we can kind of see if it's damaged anything. Alright, so we're going to do this again. And go. And done. So that took about 20 seconds. Sorry I didn't show the first one. So I mean, I don't remember what Jess's times were, but it seems about right in the ballpark of what it was. We'll look at that one, and then I'll do this last one. We'll set it up again. Get the wand and go. And off. So that one was about 22 seconds. So between 19 and 24 seconds is what it's taken to get the shields off. Alright, so next thing I'm going to go grab a iPad Air board and we'll take off a RAM thing. Are the connectors melted? Let's look at that. That's a good point. Let's look at the connectors. I don't normally use that high heat. On mine personally, I only use about 350 with just no nozzle, and it seems to do fine. Yeah, you can see the coil glowing in. Alright, so there's the first one. Very little deformation on the connector there. Actually, you can kind of wipe it away. So that's one. That was one of the longer ones. This is the shortest one. There's no melting at all there. That was the one that took 19 seconds, and this is the one that took 24 seconds. You can see there's not really any melting there either. Alright, I'm going to grab a MacBook Air and see if we can take some RAM off. Looks like the only MacBook Air board I have is a parts board that's been stripped already. What's something else that you suggest, Tim, that I can pull from? I got a Retina. It's got RAM on it. I don't know where the Air is. I had one, but it's gone. Yeah, Teardown already happened. Tim, is a Retina okay? Can we pull RAM off a Retina? How quickly can it burn flesh and reveal bone? I'd say pretty quickly. Well, I've got a 2013 Retina board here for parts, so anything you would like me to remove on here, I'll be happy to. I've got older ones too, if there's one that has better ground planes or something. Did Timmy disappear on us? Where'd Timmy go? Tim. Do I have to message Tim? Anything popping bubble wrap over there?
Yeah, it's popping bubbly wrap.
Bubbly wrap. Tim is MIA, evidently, yep. Man, this is really bright. Why is it so bright? Tim went to look for screws. Tell Tim I'll screw him right here. He ain't gotta go nowhere. He's placing his order for this hot air station. True. Alright, set the autofocus there. Alright, so fuck it. We'll take a RAM module off this retina. I don't know if it has the same ground plane as the air. Probably not. Alright, so he said as high as my station will go. That's 480 degrees Celsius is maximum. Should I preheat the board or no? I don't know. Fuck it. We'll just start the timer now. I usually use a nozzle on these, so this is weird. But this is what Tim said to do. Okay, it's off. It took 36 seconds. So, 36 seconds to remove. That board's warm now, so it doesn't do me much good to take another one off. Alright, so I'm going to turn it down to my working air temperature that I normally use. And I'm going to go grab the temperature probe. And actually I'm going to put this RAM back on real quick. So I'll put it to the normal temperature I use for MacBooks, which is 400. We'll put this RAM chip back on real quick. If we can get it centered here. Usually I use a nozzle here, so this is a little odd. It's a little misaligned, but hopefully flux and solder tension will move it into place. I should put my nozzle on here for this. I usually don't work without the nozzle much. Might have to turn it back up to Timmy temps to get this thing to melt. What's up, Scoop? What's up, Handy? Let me put my nozzle back on. This goes much faster with the nozzle. Directed heat helps a lot. The tips on these are friction held with a set screw, but you really don't even need it most of the time because it'll hold without it. Alright, let's melt this thing into place. As you can see with the nozzle, it tends to move that flux a little more. There it goes. Alright, it's back on. We got 3 packages from Anthony today, so I gotta open all those up. So is the Aoyue junk? No, I don't think it is. I mean, I'm sure there's Aoyues on the market that are complete shit. But as far as the 852 goes, for an $80 unit, I don't know that you can beat the price. I mean, if you're an absolute just trying to get into it and you don't want to spend any money, I don't have any qualms with buying this unit. What else can I do? I was gonna measure the temperature. Let me turn it down to where I work so we can see if it's consistent with what the reading says. And let me grab the temperature probe real quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this one's still, yeah, the 852A++ Pro. That's what it is. Alright, so let's see if we can get this set up to where you can read it. Alright, so it's set to 350 at 45 airspeed. I'm going to hold it in front of the nozzle. If I can hold it there steady. About the working distance that I work at. So that's my working distance right there. This probe's all over the place. It's hard to do. Let me hold it on a board. It's easier for me to do. Alright, there. This will kind of tell us what temperatures I'm actually getting. So you can see the temperature that I'm actually getting on the board is higher than what it actually reads on the output. It's about 30 degrees higher, which would explain why I work at a lower temp. So 25-30 degrees. I would suspect that you'll see similar, and this temperature changes based on like your airspeed. There's a bunch of stuff that changes it. So I don't know if the probe's heat sinking or what's going on with it. Like it's holding steady right 390, 385 area. If we increase the airspeed to like what I work on max at, which is about 20% higher, we'll see what the temperature is, if it's any different. So no, it's consistent. At the higher airspeed, we're still hitting the board right at the same temp. So let's try a lower airspeed and see if the temperature overshoots where it's supposed to be. So I've bumped it down to 30. which is 20% lower than I normally run. Now let's see. So it looks like it's about 380 at the lower airspeed, so it seems to regulate itself pretty well. It's within a 10-degree range is where it stays. I don't know if you can actually get down in the nozzle is going to be much higher, I think. Yeah, so down in the nozzle it's like 400. 440. But the working distance that I'm at, it's right in that same range. It stays consistent. I'll burn the thermocouple? Yeah, probably will. It's rated for, I think, 500. So, it should be okay. Not really worried about it. I don't use this thing much anymore. I used to use it on my old Crest because it didn't have a temperature readout. So I would throw it in the water to see what the temperature of the water was. Now with the new Sharper Tech unit I have, it has all the digital readouts for the temp and everything. So, I guess we can do a real world application for this thing. For like Touch IC. I'll show you kind of what temperatures I work at. The temperature I work at is slower than what most people do. So it may not come off as fast. I don't know what Jessa and them run. It's fairly high airspeed though, from what I can tell. I'll bump it up to something that sounds like an airspeed that they use. Let's see. Let's see. You can tell by the way the flux boils. So, I mean, at a higher airspeed, they come off much faster. You can see there are a couple NC pads that came loose there. There's no solder balls though anywhere, so let me go ahead and drop this back on just in case we need a part someday for some reason. For those emergency situations. Situations. Yeah, I like to keep the flux under the piece that I'm working on. Alright, Kenna. She's like, fuck your piece you're working on. So I turn the airspeed down just a little bit. Alright, it's melted back into place. So, I mean, touch LCDs don't take very long when you bump the airspeed up quite a bit. I normally run at a much lower, it's about 15% lower than that. So that was about 65%. This is at 50%. So you'll be able to tell that it comes off a little slower. It's not terribly like a huge noticeable difference, but I find that working at a lower airspeed, I have much less chance of fucking shit up on the other side. The Unity meter. Is that the red ones, the digital ones? No, the Air 2 I think uses a different Mason scoop. You can read the numbers, but I'm pretty sure it's different. You do everything at 410. That's pretty high for my station. That's MacBook working temperatures for me. So, what can we conclude from this? Are cheap stations good? Most of them? No.
Yes.
Are there some that are? Yeah.
Yes.
Longevity wise, do they last?
Yes.
The one that is good that I prefer being the Aoyue 852. I guess so. I've used it for 2 years. Maybe it's a crapshoot. Based on the capacitors that I read off the board inside, they're the same exact capacitors that are on the quick station. So if the caps are what fails on most of these things, then they're the same cap company, I think. I'm pretty sure it was like Jinson or something like that. No, it's GI or JI. Jinson or something like that. I can't remember. I have to go back and look at Lewis's, but I think it was the same cap manufacturer. The heat sinks in it aren't as big as the Quick, but they're also on a separate board from the control board. The Quick is one control board with the switching MOSFETs and everything all in one. This one has a power board and a control board separate. I'm sure that probably helps keep some heat down, especially not having the LEDs and stuff on the same board. Other than that, honestly, I would prefer not having the pump. The pump is louder, so if you're noise sensitive or if that bugs you, I would not say buy this because it does make more noise than the Quick. But again, for $80, could you really complain? I'll go back and look at the times, but I'm fairly certain that the times that it took me to remove certain things are exactly the same as everybody else's, or within margin. It's not taking 6 minutes to take a shield off. It took 19 to 24 seconds. We took off a RAM chip off of a Retina in 36 seconds at maximum temperature, maximum airspeed. The $3 2-year Amazon insurance, yeah. So, I mean, as much shit as my station gets, I'm pretty proud of what it can do. If it ever does die, I will be honest, I will probably go to a quick station just because it's quiet and it has presets. The presets are pretty awesome. I wish this unit had presets, but it does not, unfortunately. Amy, that's what I paid for mine. I bought it on sale for $80. It was on, I don't know if it was on Amazon or a different site. It was $80. I think they're at $120 now, maybe $110. It's still a third of the cost of the quick station, and it's a sixth or a seventh of a Hako station, and like a tenth of a JBC. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it. So if you are going to get a cheap station and you just don't want to spend the money, which I do not recommend being cheap, buy good products. I got lucky with these units, but in most cases buying really shitty cheap stuff, usually the old adage is true, you get what you paid for. So but anyway, I think that's going to end it pretty much. Today's just been kind of a shitty day for repairs for me. A bunch of stuff works, but not the way it should. I've been working on a MacBook Retina most of the day. It boots up in SMC bypass, but I can't get it to boot normally. It has no image right now. It does chime. So it's got multiple issues after liquid damage. I've been messing with that. It did come in not even turning on, so we got it that far. I had an iPhone 6 that was Air 9. We put 3 different NANDs on it. I checked the EEPROM stuff. It still won't restore. It's still Air 9. I think it's a CPU problem. I've got an iPhone 7 that I worked on that was data recovery. It will complete an update, but then immediately as soon as it tries to boot, it goes back into recovery. I did a 6 Plus Touch IC today, if that's cool. M7 NAND. You're talking about the... Oh, that one? Yeah, we gotta throw it on the reader. and then ship those back to you. Other than that, kind of a blah day. Crest to the rescue on what, the Mac? We put it in the ultrasonic. I don't think it's an issue with corrosion. I think we've got something somewhere that there's a bad resistor or something. It had a fair amount of corrosion across the board. New NAND programmer. For what, Ashes? Talking about for like Samsung stuff or for iPhones? Wait until I see the fuckery you sent me? Thanks. That'll be tomorrow. We'll take a good hard look at it, Anthony. Then we'll put it right back in the box and send it back to you. Now this week I get caught up. There's a last week we finally got caught up with everything, so everybody that sent stuff in, I should be sending it back out finally. But today has not been a good day for repair. It's been okay. Simple stuff has gone well, but the more complicated things, not so much. I have food in one of them. Well, we'll open them, Anthony. We'll make sure we get everything out first. But anyway, I'm going to get off here and head home. Thank you all for watching. If you all want to compare this video, sorry I don't have a quick station here. One of the things that could really help the noise on this thing is that stupid airflow meter thing. I may bypass that completely. But let it cool. Anyway, so I will see you all later. I'll probably be on tomorrow since we've got Anthony's goodies that came in. And I've got another box of mail and stuff to do. And then I've got some data recoveries. I've done most of them. I just have one more I need to finish up. And then that's about it. But anyway, you all have a good night. And do some comparisons on these videos. See if they match up or if they're not. Just see what you think. And we'll talk to you later. Good night, everybody.
Good night.